How are we doing, guys? And welcome back to All Leeds TV. It's been a long layoff. It's been a long break between games, but the proper fussy is back. It's Leeds United versus Manchester City, back in the Premier League tomorrow night. And this is your quick preview of the game on All Leeds TV. I hope you guys all had a fantastic Christmas, building up to a great new year, and I hope Leeds United play their part in that. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing absolutely superbly well. It is great to be back, and it has been an incredibly long layoff, and I do apologise for that, guys, but we are back at All Leeds TV. So let's talk about the season so far in general recap a little bit before we talk about the Manchester City game. So I think first and foremost is you can probably break the season so far into 3/3 for Leeds. It's not even been the case of two halves, probably into 3/3. The first bit of the season, I thought exceeded my expectations. The second bit of the season was absolutely dreadful. There's no other way of really putting that. It could not have gone any worse. Literally couldn't have gone any worse because we were on a horrendous losing run. Didn't really look like winning any of those games, turning any of those games around. It was very difficult. And then you go into the final third of the season and it's kind of picked up a little bit. But I think we have probably gone backwards, if we're being totally honest, from where we were at that first bit of the season. There's no getting away from that. We are behind and where we were at the start of the season. I think we did start the season brightly. We've not really got back to those levels so far. And yes, the results did pick up before the World Cup, but there was a lot of tight games in there. The Liverpool game could have gone either way. The Bournemouth game could have gone either way. And of course, if you look at from the other kind of point of view, the Tottenham game could have gone the other way. The Arsenal game could have gone the other way. I think we're involved in a lot of tight football matches. There's not a lot between the teams. And it is very much a case of who steps up more in the final third between the two teams. And that's something that's been a big positive for us. We are scoring goals, despite losing a talent like Rafinha to Barcelona, having a massive injury to Luis Sinisterra, who looks like, for me, our best attacker in the team. Obviously, Patrick Bamford not quite being... he hasn't been sharp, has he? Let's be honest, in front of goal. He has brought a lot of other things to the team, but in terms of sharpness in front of goal, we have been lacking that from Paddy Bamford. And yeah, you look at those three things, in terms of Rafinha, Bamford, Sinisterra, and you'd expect us to really struggle to score goals, but that hasn't been an issue at all. Yes, when teams sit in against us, we have found it at times difficult to break them down, but I think we've got better at that as well. I think the Bournemouth game, we showed good resilience in that one and managed to really turn it around in that second half and break down Bournemouth and create chances and moments, and Tottenham was a similar story. So I don't think that's an issue for us. I think that's something that's going to be a big positive for us, to move us up the table, to get us out of this relegation battle, and to get on the right side of this relegation battle, really. Our position in the table at this moment in time is okay. I wouldn't say it's great or exactly where we want to be, but it's relatively okay. It's not too bad at this moment in time. But these next two games could easily see us well and truly in it. And, as soon as you psychologically start to slip down that table like we did on that run of form under Jesse just before the World Cup, psychologically it can start to look really unhealthy. So yes, it's okay-ish at this moment in time. I think most Leeds fans, if you could finish the season now, probably would do. I think probably would do that. Let us know in the comments. I might have totally misgauged that, but I would imagine that most Leeds fans probably would take where we are in the table right now, 14th, 15th. But yeah, it really is difficult to see where we are as a team. I'm just making a couple of notes here, and that middle chunk of the season was tough, really tough, and I think naturally it's made us all feel a little bit more nervy, because we have another one of them, another 5-6 game losing run where we can't win a game. You're in big trouble now. You're in big trouble because look how tight it is. The fact that I think, is it Southampton are bottom and they're only 3-4 points behind us. We're going to lose and run. We could find ourselves bottom. That is the reality we're in at this moment in time. So yes, it is nervy times. And I haven't missed the stresses of Leeds United before games. When it gets into the games, I'm happy. But it's before games where you're looking at the results around us and it's getting a little bit nervy. You're seeing some results go against us. Yeah, it is going to be really tough, if we're being totally honest. And January is coming at a really good time for us. We have got some big injuries. We have got some gaps in the squad that we simply have to address. We have to address it January. We can't have a January like last time because the teams around us won't have a January like last time. You've seen Wolves making moves already in the transfer market. I think Southampton have been linked for a couple of players today. I think every team's going to be pretty active in this transfer market this season. Having come off the back of a World Cup, I feel it's going to be the case. I'm not going to start naming names who we should be going after, But I think it's clear to everyone there is gaps in this squad where we do need to fill. Depth-wise, starting 11-wise, we have got to address January. It's going to be such a key one for us, and we've got to get it spot on. And preferably get business done as quickly as possible as well, because there's a lot of games in January and you don't want to be messing about at the back end of the window. And there were 5-6 games down the line where it could be a really bad situation that we're in. But it seems quite negative at this moment in time. But I just don't know. I don't know how good, bad a team we are at this moment in time. We are just so inconsistent. Even in the middle of games, we can have a great first half, then really drop off in the second half, and then vice versa. Or we can have a good 10 minutes, drop off for 10 minutes, good 10 minutes after that. We are still an inexperienced team, and you can see that with the performance levels and some of the mistakes we make and some of the positives we have as a team as well. But yeah, it is going to be a really, really interesting second bit of the season. If interesting is the word, guys. We know we've got huge issues at the back. We've got massive problems at the back. That is a issue at this moment in time that's going to potentially drag us into this relegation battle. It's not a lack of goals. It's not problems in midfield. It's that defence at this moment in time. I'm not going to name individuals. I think the blame has to be split across the team. Partly it's individual, partly it's a system. I think I've seen a video on social media recently in terms of how narrow the back line is. You've seen a lot of players getting in at that back post against us where we're kind of really tucking our full-backs in, and it's causing us problems. It's a range of things, really. I'm not going to just pull it down to one thing. I think it's loads of different things. But that, at this moment in time, like last season, is what's going to really put us in trouble if we are in trouble. It's those situations that we can look good in the game, and then bang, 2 minutes later, we could be 2-0 down. That is the situation we face at this moment in time. And not being able to see out games is an issue as well. But it all comes back to conceding goals. Conceding far, far too many goals, too many chances, giving away too many moments. And just, it is one of them where I think January is going to be massive for us in that department. Bringing in a leader at the back, possibly adapting, the left-back situation to bring in Pascal to centre-back. There's a lot of things we need to look at in January. A lot of potential solutions. I do believe there's a lot of potential solutions, and I think we have got to look at that in January. We've all vented our frustration. In this first half of the season, I've done it, Jack's done it, Chris has done it. We've all done it, let's be honest, because it has been a really frustrating first bit of the season. There's been good points, there's been bad points, but we've got to get on top of that back line. It all comes back to the same thing. Conceding goals, too many cheap goals. It's only really Pascal, for me, out of that whole back four, who started a lot of games this season. He can really take any credit. I think they can all step up a level. And that's not me having a go at them. That's me, actually, if anything, being positive. The fact that I think they can be better. I think Robin Koch can be that centre-back that we expect him to be. I think Rasmus Christensen can adapt to this league. I think going forward he's great, but I think he can be better defensively. This is the reason we're so critical, is that we think there is more from these players. If we didn't think there was more that these players could give, we won't get frustrated. It's as simple as that. I don't know if people agree with me in that in the comments, but I do think individually some players have really got to step up in the second bit of the season. And the system and the January window, it can all play a big part in us sorting this situation out. Now, the Man City game, listen, what can you say about Man City? Maybe at this moment in time, they're not top of the table, but you look at that starting 11, it's the strongest starting 11 in the world. For me, there's no real doubt about that. You're looking at people like Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland, Foden. There's no way you can even pick out one individual. I think most people will say Haaland, but the team is so well structured. It's years and years of coaching, the same team, little additions, bits and pieces. Every single player on that pitch can cause Leeds United problems. Every single player on that pitch is borderline, if not world class, for Manchester City. But there have been slight moments, Man City, this season. Obviously losing at home to Brentford, dropping points. I can't remember. They have had some really dodgy results this season, Man City. Of course, I still think they can probably win the league, probably will win the league, if you're kind of saying right now who you fancy to win the league, for me personally. But this is a big game for Man City. The pressure is definitely on them because they're 8 points behind. From their point of view, they have to win this game. I think they're actually behind Newcastle at this moment in time. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that pressure. Going to someone like Ellen Road is probably a nightmare situation. We've got to make it a nightmare situation. We will make it a nightmare situation. And I think the only slight areas where I question Man City is the centre-back areas, because they do have a lot of injuries. and they do tend to rotate quite a lot. I think in the likes of Ake. Ake's a massive threat on set pieces. There's no question about that. He scored a few goals at the World Cup, I think. He's obviously scored a few goals for City in those situations. He scored against us, I think, last season at Ellen Road. But defensively, I think you can get at Ake. I think Rodrigo can get joy from Ake. And obviously, Ruben Diaz, I don't think, has been as good this season as what he was in previous seasons. But again, this is very much tongue-in-cheek because they're all exceptional players. They're still exceptional players. But if you're going to get at Man City in any areas, it might be Cancelo defensively and the two centre-backs if City do rotate. There are slight moments that might give it away there. But when you look at going forward, Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland, of course, is the most dangerous pairing in the league, probably in the world, actually. I can't even say how do you stop that. You can't stop that. Liverpool couldn't stop that. Top teams can't stop that. It's going to be very, very difficult for us. I think the question all comes down to, do we press City or do we drop off? And there's negative sides both ways, really. If you press City, they can easily play through you. All of a sudden, you've got a situation where you kind of defended 40 yards of space against world-class forwards. If you drop off City, you're allowing them to keep the ball. You haven't got threat yourself going forward, and you can't get the press going, which is our biggest strength, to the press. So there's no perfect solution really against Man City. You just got to take your moments when they come and hope that Meslier is a spot-on game. Because listen, it's not going to define our season, this. But one thing I would say about this game is that currently our goal difference is healthy, actually. I think amongst the teams around us, it's one of the best, if not the best. I think we're on -4. You've got teams in the bottom 3 on -15, -17, I think Southampton have dropped to. I should have checked that before I started this video. So that's something else to think about as well. If we find ourselves, let's hope that it's horrible to talk like this. It really is horrible to talk like this. But you find yourself 2-0 down in the game. Does it make sense for Leeds to really open up at that point and try and get that goal back? Or it's one of them. It's like, listen, I'll never ever advocate for us to sit back and just accept, the team that we're playing against has got better quality. But it is something to think about, goal difference. Maybe not right now, but as the season goes on, you can see the damage goal difference could cause. Leeds last season easily could have gone down on relegation. Gone down on goal difference. It could have got us relegated, that situation. It really could have done. Our goal difference is so poor, and it came from getting hammered in these types of games. So it's just something to think about. It is something where you think about it, 2-0 down, you open up, all of a sudden the 2-0 defeat becomes a 5 or 6-0 defeat. Your goal difference takes a massive battering, and it's something with the table being so tight, there's a good chance it could go down to goal difference. So it's something to think about. And I know the comments are going to absolutely hammer me for saying that, but listen, I'm only saying it because it's a reality. It is a reality for me. We have got to think about things like goal difference into these games. You go in like a headless chicken against City and Newcastle, you could easily lose heavily, and then all of a sudden the goal difference advantage that we had on the teams below us, the Southampton, the Wolves, Everton's, etc., has gone, completely gone, and it becomes a weakness again. So it's something to think about. I hate talking like that. I really do hate talking like that. But to just finish the video on the positive, our record against the top teams has been really good this season. Performances have been really good throughout really against these teams. So let's see what we can do. Listen, it's a free hit for us, really. It really is a free hit. Teams around us haven't picked up points, really. A couple of them have, but really, opposition's not really any different to what it was at the start of Boxing Day. And things like rotation might come into it as well, because obviously Newcastle have had 2.5 days extra rest than us going into that game on New Year's Eve. So whether we do rotate some of the forwards might be interesting to see if we do a bit of rotation. But let's see. I'll stop rambling anyway. It has been a long video, this one, but it's the first video back, and I did want to make it a long one to talk to you guys, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Smash that like button if you haven't done already. Hit the comment button as well. Sorry, hit the subscribe button. I'm all over the place. It's been that long since I've done a video. I'm all over the place here. Hit the subscribe button as well. That would massively help us too on our road to 27,000. And yeah, there's a couple of things to comment on, I'm sure, as well. And we will be back after the game as well with plenty of post-match content. Cheers for watching, guys, and we will see you later. Thanks, guys.